Hi. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to me as well because I haven't been making content. So today is my first day off in 9 days. Technically speaking, I do not have the full day off. I do have 2 work commitments today. I have to write a Substack and I also have a reading party that I'm hosting later in the evening. But considering my goal for the day is to not do anything but read, that's going to work into my schedule. So I'll allow it. Whenever I do these like 12-hour readathons or I read for a full day, I am always so intrigued to know how much I'm actually reading, like the actual hours that I'm doing it. And considering that my book club right now is doing a monthly readathon where we are tracking the time and pages that we have read every day, I kind of feel like it's the perfect opportunity to, yeah, do that. I don't really have a goal for how many books I want to read today. I think the goal is to see within like the actual 12 hours of a day how long it actually takes me to read a full 12 hours for a 12-hour readathon. I'm back on my TBR. I just finished a bunch of books for all of my book clubs, but those are now over, so I'm back to reading whatever I want. And so I'm reading The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. I have read the other 2 books in this series, but I read them a while ago, and I'm glad that they're not like super important to this book so far. I am reading it on my Kindle. I'm 82 pages in already. I started it yesterday. I am on chapter 7. So this will be the first book I start with. We'll see how long it takes me to finish. I think it's like 500 pages. I think realistically, considering this book is quite long, and I do think the other book I want to read is relatively long-ish, I do think that I will probably only read 2 books. That's what I think is going to happen. So stay tuned. Welcome. And let's get to reading. Mwah. Okay, so I have my iPad here, and I am going to be keeping track of the time on here. And yes, that is a little hipper that my brother got me for Christmas. He is a koala. It's currently 10:10 exactly. I'm going to get started on reading. And yeah, here we go. Okay, interesting finding. I've now been reading for an hour, but I've actually only read 30 minutes. This makes sense. I did have some work I needed to get done really quickly, and that is now like finished and done. I also had to go downstairs and talk to a friend for a bit because she brought me a free coffee. Apparently, through her work, they give like free coffee coupons or whatever. And she hates McDonald's coffee and she knows that they have decaf. So she got me one, which is like so sweet. I don't really like McDonald's coffee either, but I like when things are free. I don't really like McDonald's in general. Boycott McDonald's, but free things are great, especially when you don't have to pay them for it, you know? I don't know how many pages I have read. I'm not going to do that math, mostly because I hate doing math. But I do feel like now that that like first hour is out of the way and I've been able to get like a few of the like work things that I needed to get done finished, I now will be able to actually like really focus in on reading, which will be great. Here's to hour 2. I'll probably do another check-in in a few hours or so. But I can do a percentage of how far I am into the book because it does it for me. I'm 24% of the way in. I'm on page 118. I do feel like this is reading incredibly fast. So that's nice. That's great. We love progress. All right. I have now read for about 2 hours. It's 1 o'clock. I feel like I was reading pretty consistently. And technically, I'm like 3 or so hours in. So I'm kind of like an hour behind the actual time that I've read, if that makes sense. I'm actually really enjoying this book because I love a quest. I love a quest that deals with like the underworlds and the dead. So I feel like this book might be made for me. I'm 58% of the way through. I am on chapter 26, and I do feel like I am now at the point where I'm like past halfway through, and it's starting to read a lot faster just because I've been spending so much time with it. But I'm having a fun time with it. I'm enjoying it. I've definitely locked in on reading a bit more, so I wasn't like checking my phone or things as much this time, and I have like officially stopped working today until I have to head to that reading party later this evening. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic. I also am enjoying sort of just like the mythology of these characters specifically. I think the issues I had with like the first two books is that I wasn't like not fully aware, but I just like wasn't fully connected with like their world and what their objectives were. But I'm really enjoying the way that these two characters, like faith and religion, and that idea of like having a moral code for yourself versus like the code that you've been like raised on, and sort of just like how they're fighting that or like helping one another through it. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I do have a feeling we're getting into the romance part of it. They seem to be nicer to each other now. Um, Crazy, I know. We'll see how I feel about the romance of it all. We haven't gotten there yet. I've really just been enjoying the quest. But I'm going to make lunch because eating is important. And then I'm going to get back into reading. All right, I just finished. Wow, love a cliffhanger. Thank you so much. Wow, fun. Okay, it is 2:55 and I just finished The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. It says per my tracking that it took me 3 hours and 14 minutes to like actually read this book, which makes sense, honestly. I feel like there were moments where I was literally like doing this on my Kindle and flipping through it so quickly and there were other parts that I was like barely getting through it. But I finished it and she's done. Thank you so much. The next book I'm going to start is The Rose Bargain. Apparently, I am just on a fantasy kick at the moment, which is fine. Technically speaking, I have almost been reading for 5 hours, but obviously that is not correct. I'm a few hours behind. But it is kind of crazy that I'm only like one fraction of the way into 12 hours. Um, Really makes me question how many of these hours I have actually been reading during my like 12-hour and 24-hour readathons. But I'm glad I'm doing this because I feel like I'm like learning a lot. What do I know about the Rose Bargain? Nothing. Not really a damn thing. So here we are. I remember I picked this up at an event that I was invited to, and a lot of people at this event were saying that they were really excited about this and they had heard a lot of good things. So I am excited to get into it. Of the three books in this series that I have read, this so far has been my favorite. I just love a quest. And I love a quest that deals in the underworld because I find death practices absolutely fascinating. This coming from a girl who asked for a copy of the Book of the Dead, like the Egyptian mythological Book of the Dead, for her like 11th birthday. So okay, so I'm going to start this. It's around 3 o'clock. I will dive into this one. I have the reading party around 6 o'clock. I'll probably need to leave around like 5:30 ish. So I have a feeling I will be, if it took me that long to finish this book, I have a feeling it'll take around the same to finish this one. So I'll probably take another book with me for the reading party because I'll be finishing this one and then starting another one. To be fair, though, at the reading party, there's going to be a lot of socializing. So I have a feeling I'm going to lose about an hour of my day to talking to humans. God forbid. Not me spending time with people I like and wanting to talk to them. Insane behavior. The other thing I was thinking is that if I wasn't doing a video and like taking time to make content, then I would probably actually have read more. Like I would probably, when I am like calculating, the time and everything, I probably would have read more, obviously. Because look at me here, wasting time talking to you. Just kidding, babe. Okay, here we go. I'm a little concerned about going from one fantasy to the next. And you know what's really funny is the next book I have lined up is a fantasy too. My life is so hard, you guys. God. All right, it is 3:07 and we are diving back in. Okay, it is 5:16. I just read for about like an hour or so straight. It says that I have now read for 4 hours and 36 minutes. I'm flying through this book. I'm actually quite enjoying it. I'm on page 143. I'm a huge fan of the politics of the marriage market and just like the ton and all of that. So adding in sort of like a fantastical magical element is pretty fun and exciting. I have a few minutes before I need to head out for the reading party, so I'm going to get ready for that. I remember thinking, like, oh, I will take another book with me just in case. I don't think that's the case. I'm reading this a lot slower than I thought. I mean, I feel like I'm flying through it because the book is so fast paced, but I do feel like I am reading through it relatively slowly, but I've been like fully encompassed by this book, that is for sure. So I get it. I understand. I know why we're into this. And I'm intrigued to see where it goes. Okay, maybe I'll be optimistic and bring a second book just in case.
Gorgeous. Thank you.
I'm gonna put this in the vlog and it's gonna be really awkward and random. Okay, I'm back home. I was so close to finishing The Rose Bargain while we were there, but it was 8 o'clock and I was tired and it was getting dark. So I left. As for how much I have read, I've read 5 hours and 35 minutes so far. I definitely lost some time at the bar, mostly because, first of all, it's like a 15-minute walk there and back. And then also, we were like socializing for like, a half hour or so. So, yeah, not doing the greatest for, 12 hours and 12 hours, but I'm curious to see actually how many hours I will have read in my 12-hour readathon. I am on chapter 27. I am truly so close to finishing this and I am just eating it up. So I will be finishing this. And then the next book that I have decided I want to try and start is Fall of Ruin and Wrath. I figured why not keep these good times going with fantasy, might as well, might as well. This book is also, I believe, in the 400s. Yeah, this book is 415 pages. So another long one. But as I said, I'm going to see how much I can read within 12 hours and like how much that actually is, like for my 12-hour readathon. But then I also want to see how long it actually takes me to read 12 hours. And considering the time that it is, and the time that it is 8:45, and I'm only, 5.5 hours in, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. I thought this was a standalone. Thank you for that cliffhanger. Loved that. When do I get my hands on the next one? Like, where do I get it? Someone tell me right now. I had such a fun time with this. I feel like the reason I liked it so much is because it dealt with the politics of this land. And that's just something I really enjoyed. I really had a fun time with it. The romance was also, of course, an aspect of it. But for me, I was just into the whole like backstabbing politics of it and the friendship. Because I guess it is all about the friends that we make along the way, isn't it? So it is now 9:41. I started at 10:10 and we are so close to it being 12 hours. So that means that like of those 12 hours, I read 6.5 hours basically. It makes sense to me. I definitely spent a few of the first hours in the morning half reading, half working. I had the reading party, which took out, like a few hours as well. Of course, I'm going to get distracted on my phone from time to time. I did have to stop to make lunch. I did have to stop to make dinner. I'm going to start this now. We'll see how I'm feeling. We'll see how tired I get. But I do kind of want to like read the full 12 hours and see how I do. Like, what do I really have to lose? You know? But we're going to read this. I will be honest, I set an alarm for 10:10 and I will take the time exactly to see how many hours I read in those 12 hours. But here we go. Okay, it is now 10:10 officially. So it has officially been 12 hours. And my stopwatch says that I have actually been reading for 6 hours and 50 minutes. So basically, 7 hours out of the 12. What happened to those other 5? Couldn't tell you. Don't know. So I guess if that means if I were to read for the next 5 hours to complete this 12-hour readathon, I would not finish until 3. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read until I feel tired. And considering I am an insomniac, we have a lot of time I'm sure we can be spending together. But I am now 30 pages into Fall of Ruin and Wrath. So I'll just keep chugging along there, I guess. So it's currently midnight and I have officially been reading for 8 hours. I'm 120 pages into this book, this very horny book. We were like barely into it and she was already like naked in the shower with a fairy knight guy. Dude. Wow. I am finding it though enjoyable. very much in a sense where like it very much feels nostalgic Wattpad coded almost. Do you know what I mean? I am gonna go put some pajamas on. I feel like that's gonna really be a game changer. And I think it would be responsible for me to go to bed now. Yeah, so I didn't go to bed through the power of stubbornness, insomnia, and strawberry vanilla olipop. Um, we're still here. It is currently 1:08 and I've basically read for 9 hours. I do not know what it is about this book. This book that I truly had no idea what this book was about whatsoever. I didn't even read the back before I started it. Um, I am now officially halfway through, and the book continues to be horny. There's been some plot that has been happening, I guess. I don't know why I can't stop reading, but I truly just read for an entire hour uninterrupted. And I feel like I haven't done that a lot today. Like I feel like that was actually my issue was I was like taking too many breaks, like I kept getting distracted. But yeah, I don't know if it's whatever this book is. I don't know if it's the fact that it's like super late at night. Could not tell you. But I am so exhaustedly locked in that doesn't even comprehend in my brain. I don't know what's happening in this book. And I know for a fact that it's not because I'm tired. And I know for a fact that it's truly because this book is just wild to me. Truly. Truly. I think what's going to happen is I'm just going to read until I drop dead. Just kidding. I don't know if I am going to finish this book tonight or not. I know I'm going to finish this because I'm almost done with it. So that's an accomplishment. I'm just going to keep these good times going until I cannot go anymore. And then that'll be the end of this vlog and you will have spent too much time with me. But I guess this is also just how my insomnia works, you know, like it'll kick in and I'll lock in and I'll hyperfixate and then sleep no more, baby. Good morning. Last night, my brain broke, so the idea of finishing this video at 3 in the morning wasn't it. So here we are the next morning at 10 a.m. Yeah, so I ended up finishing this and it started and I was intrigued. And then I think what happened is it was basically like a car crash where you couldn't look away. Like I was having such a mediocre okay time with it that I couldn't stop reading because I was so confused by where this could possibly go, what was happening, and if there was a plot. I took a screenshot of the clock at 3:12 a.m. I had basically read 11 hours. So amazing. I'm not really sure what I learned from this experiment, other than the fact that I'm not reading as much as I think I am during readathons, which almost kind of feels like something I need to like challenge myself to do better at, which doesn't make sense because a reading challenge is for fun, and as long as I'm having fun, that's all that matters. But I'm a hyper competitive person, specifically against myself. So God, I'm going to have to do this again at some point. Here is an interesting point, though. I was able to read 3 books. I thought in the 12 hours that I was reading, I would only be able to read 2. And to be fair, in those 12 hours, like the actual 12 hours of the day, I did read 2 books. So my internal clock for how much I could read was spot on. As for how much I actually could read in 12 hours, I did read 3 books. So intriguing. This is the book that took me the most amount of time, which makes sense. It was the longest, and I do feel like when I started it at the beginning of the day, I wasn't as like motivated. But as I said before, I'm still relatively surprised by how much I liked this. The Rose Bargain really surprised me. I had no idea. I thought it was a standalone, so when it ended and I was like, more, yes, please. This one probably to me just read the fastest. And I think I would have finished this one quickest if I didn't have the reading party in the middle of the evening. But once I was like halfway through, and I feel like this happens with a lot of books that I read, once I get like halfway through, I then start reading way faster, just because I've been in it and my brain has acclimated to the book. But I was incredibly surprised by this. I wish I had read it earlier. I want to talk about it with everyone. So I had a really fun time with that. As for Ruin and Wrath, as I said, it happened. Do I think that reading it so late in the evening impacted how I feel about the book? Late in the evening, it was 1 a.m. I am a firm believer that whatever time I read a book does not impact my reading experience of it. Like, I truly believe that my brain is going to be as locked in regardless of what time it is. So, no, I do not think that the time impacted how I feel about this book. I just truly think that the book just was not for me. You know what really threw me off? And then I'll shut up, is that he was giving like a history of the world. And it was very clearly like, and I only know this because this has been popping up on my TikTok feed, and I actually hate that I'm using this as like, what am I talking about? Why am I talking about this? Okay, so my TikTok feed has been like for some reason showing me the Tartarian conspiracy theories of like the really tall people who were like really super smart and roamed the earth before us, and then like civilization basically got wiped, and now here we are, and that the Tartarians like still exist. So that's been on my TikTok for you feed, which unfortunately there were like inklings of that when he's like telling her this like secret history of the world, where he's like, yeah, we kind of took a step back and let just mortals do what they wanted, and like they basically built too many buildings and they were suffocating the green of the earth and like smog pollution whatever, so then we wiped them all out and now we're back. I was like, I was like, no. I'm crying. I will never escape the conspiracy theory. Oh my god, I just remembered that. Holy shit. Okay, so anyway, I had a fun time with all three of these. I do feel like they were three interesting fantasies to read back to back because they all were so, so different, which is such a fun thing to experience, especially because I was like noticing some similarities, especially in like the lore, of fairies or vampires or whatever. But I mean, that's just based on our own mythology, which is always exciting to see then, like how authors interpret that and use it for, their own free will, I guess. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you had a fun time. I did, for sure. I definitely, now that I have these base level statistics, I would love to do it again and see if I can like lock in more, I think obviously the issue is that I was recording, so I was taking away time from that. I did have to get some work done, which of course happened, but yeah. Yeah. Once my phone was on the other side of the room, I was reading more. So, do with that what you will. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you had fun. And let me know if you want to see me do it again, because maybe I will.